First up is Apple. Goldman Sachs and Wells Fargo both lifting their price targets as they expect Apple to deliver a fiscal fourth quarter earnings and revenue beat. The upgrades come after Apple closed at a new record high for the first time since December. New reports on iPhone 17 demand are helping to drive the stock. The iPhone maker now on track to reach a $4 trillion valuation. The question is when? The shares are trading a little bit lower in pre-market, so we'll continue to track them throughout the session. In the next few sessions, we'll see how long it takes.
A lot of optimism building on this iPhone 17. If you had to choose, what is the better trade here? Is it an Apple with the momentum building, or is it something like NVIDIA where we know the story is still going to be strong, but the valuation might reflect it?
Yeah, so, luckily, I'm here in Southeast Florida, so I try to travel as infrequently as possible and enjoy the beach. But when I do try and go up in the cabin a little bit. Looking at Apple versus NVIDIA, I think that I prefer Apple. I think that we have seen a lot of expectations baked in around the AI supercycle, and that's worked wonderfully, right? NVIDIA shareholders have done fantastically well. But I think that Apple was really viewed as the laggard in this race, and they got discounted because of it. Their core business is still doing very well, though, and I think that people are appreciating that now. So I like Apple on a continued catch-up here as opposed to chasing NVIDIA, with all the momentum that it has.
Inez, get in here. It looks like you want to stay bullish on NVIDIA. Not that you're picking stocks, but I can see it. Or maybe I'm wrong.
No, I mean, look, NVIDIA is great, and it has been a massively great play, and people are long NVIDIA. As far as Apple, I do agree with Tom in the sense that their core business is still strong. I mean, the demand for 17 iPhone upgrade, that is supposed to go into 2027. Wall Street's very bullish on that. And I'll also say that the connected home devices as well, that they're going to be making also in Vietnam, I believe, that is also going to be playing part of the entire ecosystem for Apple. I think that Wall Street is very bullish on that.
Apple in the green today, Dan. It's up more than 30% now in the past 6 months. The news today, Dan, you saw a number of positive headlines. I mean, we mentioned the Counterpoint research, but I also saw, Dan, I saw Evercore add Apple to its tactical outperform list. I saw Loop Capital. They upgrade Apple to a buy. They go to a street high target here of 315. What do you make of all these headlines? I mean, bottom line, how strong is this iPhone cycle?
Great to be with you, Josh, as always. I think the cycle is off to a pretty good start. Expectations were very low coming into the iPhone 17 cycle. And really the key is that the company is continuing to innovate in key areas like the camera, video, and really pushing the user experience forward. And what we've seen and what I suspect we'll continue to see in the next several months is that more users want the Pro and the Pro Max. And so you've got a healthy mix underway. So you have an installed base for Apple iPhone that continues to grow, a good mix. You have a services business that remains very healthy. And so I look at this as a story of continued innovation, product execution, and we continue to like the stock over the year ahead.
How much, Dan, is this just about? Put it simply, you got a lot of people all over the world who are just ready for an upgrade. It's been a few years, and you know what? If you tell them here is a stronger battery, here is a faster processor, they're ready to make the move.
I think that's a part of it, but what's critical here is the innovation and pushing forward the user experience. If you think about the iPhone, really this device is becoming more important in both the digital and the physical world. If you think about use cases with generative AI as an example, the camera with visual intelligence. So all of this is becoming more important. A stronger battery or a longer battery, more features, a faster processor, that's important. But pushing this forward and integrating the hardware, the software, and the services in a fun, intuitive, and secure way, I think helps drive growth. I think also the market for smartphones has been mature, but what's important here is if Apple can continue to redefine the experience, which I think they're doing, then that really lays the foundation for good growth as we think about the quarters ahead.
What about, Dan, the kind of just great AI debate here? In other words, I mean, you heard the Apple skeptics who would say, listen, they came out and said, Apple does not have a compelling AI story. Apple does not have a compelling AI strategy. And they framed it as a kind of potentially existential threat for Apple, for Cupertino. What do you make of that?
I think Apple Intelligence needs a lot of work, and I think we're going to see more and more progress over the next several months. You'll see improvements to Siri. I think it will really become a more important part of the user experience, but there are many other things besides that will help. So, for example, if you think about the creativity, the photos, the video, the sharing, the health and fitness features, a lot of these things will benefit from generative AI, but at the end of the day, users just want to have a great experience that's private and that's trusted. If I think about the year ahead, you will see improvements to Siri. You'll see Apple really continuing to empower others to build on top of the platform. They're going to work with others, including OpenAI, Google, others, Perplexity, to really ensure that developers, big and small, are successful on the platform. If they're able to do that, Josh, in my view, that will lay the foundation for good growth for iPhone and really the broader business over the next 12 to 24 months.
What about, Dan, changes in the C-suite at Apple? You know, you saw there was a fair amount of chatter and stories, even analyst notes about that. Would your bet be that, Dan, there is a change there, or no, would your bet be you think Tim Cook stays in that position for a few more years?
I think Tim Cook will be with the company for several more years. I think he's done a very good job nurturing strong leaders, continuing to empower developers. There could be a scenario where Tim Cook remains as executive chairman for many years into the future. And so I think Tim has done a terrific job. I expect other leaders to take more and more responsibility within the organization. You've seen they've had a very successful CFO transition. Kevin Parekh has taken over from Luca Maestri, who's still with the company. And so I expect that deliberate, thoughtful executive succession planning to continue. But the story in my view, is going to be about the innovation, the product cycles, and really delighting users to drive growth.
I want to switch gears here, Dan, get your take on another name and another story today, and that's Amazon with this AWS outage. I'm just curious what you make of that, Dan, and the investor response. I mean, investors were not worried today, Dan. They seem to just shrug this off. Amazon actually finished up here 1.6%. What do you make of the story? What do you make of the investor response?
The outage today doesn't change our view on the stock and the longer-term outlook for the company. And the reason is because you do have outages occurring at AWS. It's happened at other cloud platforms as well. Really, the key is, can a platform like AWS can recover, which I believe they will very quickly, continue to invest, drive value for their users, and really unleash a whole new wave of innovation in key areas like generative AI. And that is what I do think we'll see over the next 12 to 24 months. AWS is capacity constrained like some of the other clouds, but when I step back and when we speak to customers, the trajectory is clear given the innovation, the aggressive level of investments, and really empowering others, developers, enterprises to be successful on the AWS platform. And I expect we'll see a lot more of that in the year ahead.
Yeah, just quickly, Dan, on the stock, I mean, listen, it's a nice move in the past 6 months, but it has not been a great year for Amazon. What do you think the issue is there? And obviously, you're confident there. You think it's going to change the narrative.
The issue is that Amazon is the biggest cloud at well over $100 billion of revenue. And so their growth rate in the high teens is slower than Azure inside Microsoft and the Google Cloud platform as well, which are smaller. Both of those platforms are executing well. And critically, this market, this cloud market, is growing at healthy double digits. And so the market is worried that Amazon is losing share to other players. What we see is a very durable double-digit growth platform, healthy margins, aggressive levels of investment and innovation. And so Amazon, in my view, can create a lot of value for customers and shareholders if it can grow in the high teens or at a little bit better at times. But that's the very near-term worry, Josh. I look out and think that they're laying the foundation for continued strong growth in the next 12 to 18 months.
Dan, always good to see you. Thank you.
Thanks.